Hey, welcome to week 5, where we are going to be talking about self care. Now, a lot of times I feel like self care gets thrown out there as far as like it gives you, especially ladies, a chance to waste money or go out and get this done or, specific me time. But when we talk about self care through this video, we're actually going to be talking about the root of it, which is taking care of yourself so that you can be good for yourself and for others. And that comes in a lot of different ways. Now, one of the requirements I have for you this week is to complete a gratitude journal. Now, I normally don't require you to do too many pages. I don't think I've required any pages at all, but this one I firmly believe in, and I believe in it because I do it and I've seen the rewards of it. Now, to set up a gratitude journal, you can do that in about any way you would like. You can just make a simple list. You can make it as fancy as anything you see on Pinterest. But when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of it, you're simply going to write down what you are grateful for. Now, if you're not believing me about all of the great benefits of gratitude, I seriously suggest that you look up a lot of studies. Harvard has studied it, Princeton has studied it. There's a ton of articles on positivepsychology.com. There's been a lot of studies that prove that being grateful, being thankful for things in your everyday life leads to a better life. For example, when you have more positive emotions and thoughts, it actually increases self-satisfaction. It enhances your mood. You have better sleep and wake cycles, which means that you get better sleep. You typically can have a stronger immune system and your body has less aches and pains. So we have a true physical connection to gratitude. And I could go on and on. Being grateful means that you're usually better at communicating with other people, that you have more empathy, that you have stronger relationship skills with people in your life, and that you're also more likable with people in your life. And I think this is worth all of the benefits, and all it requires you to do is write down and go through an exercise each day of what you are thankful for. And this isn't pie in the sky stuff we're talking about. You don't have to have something grand to be thankful for. You can have a totally rotten day and still be thankful that the sun peeked out at noon. You can be thankful that, well, for me, it's little things, right? Like Ellie snuggles. It's that I have a dog that I can hold and snuggle with too. It's that I could read a good book that day. Or sometimes when I'm having a really bad day, I have a shelter. I have a house to live in, and it's all mine. And those things add up, and it changes your mindset for the better. If we can go a bit more deeper with this, about 20% of teenagers deal with depression before they're 20, right? You have about 5% of teenagers that are on mood medications all of the time. And of course, we have a great range of people in between. Maybe people that are on medication, off medication. What I can say is that it's important to take medication when you need it. I also firmly believe in it's important to do things that you can do to make yourself better. And sometimes it's coupling those methods. Did you know that writing gratitudes every day actually increases your dopamine and serotonin? And that's what increases your mood. That's what takes away pain. And for those that do take mood medication, those are often the ingredients that go into that. So I feel like if we could do something that's going to significantly change our physical self and our emotional self, I think it's worthwhile to do it. Now here you're going to see that I am making a gratitude page. It turned out awful. It wasn't anything that I wanted it to be. I wanted to be cheery and happy, and I kept like smudging pens and moving my markers, and it didn't turn out very nice. But this is also typically not how I do my gratitudes. I actually have a separate book that I do them in. And since I started that separate book before I started bullet journaling, I'm continuing to do it in that separate book. And then when that book is done for the year, I plan to move my gratitudes into my bullet journal. Now, this gave me a really good chance to test out what I liked about this format and what I didn't like about the format. One, I thought it was kind of neat to have a quote. And I realized I did not like the way that yellow turned out, so I would never do that again. Also, with spreads like this that I'm going to continually use, I don't want to make them complicated. So this was even maybe too complicated for me, where if it's something I'm going to use on the daily, I just might have 2 or 3 pages set aside for a whole month, and I fill up those pages. And then once they're full, I will turn the next page of my bullet journal and then start writing out more gratitudes. But I hope this gives you an idea of just one way that you can do your gratitudes. Some people like to write one every day. I write 3 every day, and I think that's a really good start. Research has shown that you won't necessarily get the benefits in a week. But after you do this for 6 to 12 weeks, the benefits do kick in. Now, here you can see my gratitude journal that I actually use that I started a while ago, and I just write 3 things down. It's not fancy, it's not pretty, and I don't even share them with anyone. And that's another neat fact I learned about this journey through gratitudes is you get the benefits, you reap the benefits, and so do the people around you. And that's all you have to do is write it down. If you want to take it a step further and write a letter, you can do that. If you want to take it a step further and go visit people that you're grateful for, you can do that, but not required. My next self care page is actually going to show you something that I did 10 years ago for myself. I have a Christian mentor that I worked with. She is older than I am, wiser than I am, and kicks my butt all the time. And if you've been in class with me, you've heard me talk about D numerous times. And one thing she wanted me to do is make a list of affirmations of things that I maybe didn't believe in my heart, but I needed to believe in my heart. I needed to get settled between my brain and my heart. So here are the 3 things that were actually on my list that at one point in my life, I didn't believe any of them were true, even though I wanted to. The first one says, I am enough. The second one says, I am loved. And the third one says, I am worth it. And these 3 I have struggled with most of my life. And I still do every once in a while. And I go back to this list and I pray over it and I think through it. And I just try and get that stuck that these things are true. And I think if I struggle with these things, I think a lot of people struggle with them. I don't think I'm anything special. I think it is normal. So for me, the affirmations are a big part of who I want to be and who I am. Now, for this, I didn't want to jazz it up. I needed it to be simple because to me, the words aren't simple. This is really hard. And so I needed a page with a lot of white space, a lot of blank space. On the right-hand side, I decided to make a list about what God says of who I am because personally, that's important to me. And not that I want to make this video super religious, but you're looking at my bullet journal and it's personal, so sorry, it is what it is. Also below is something my mentor recommended to me because I at one time could not think of any good things about myself. I could come up with a million things I was bad at and I couldn't take a compliment and I really thought I was a terrible person. So my mentor challenged me to listen to what my friends said about me and then write it down, whether I believed it or not. So the people I cared about, the people I respected, and the people I valued, I wrote down the actual words they said about me. And it blew my mind how kind they were, first of all, and just how much this helped build up my confidence. So I would highly suggest doing that as well. Hopefully you can start to see that I am very action driven. And so in my real bullet journal, not the one I just do for this class, I have listed my part. And those are things that my mentor has given me to think about. There's a whole list of them that I'm going to show here in a second, but I like to focus on 2 at a time. And also for self-care, I would include in my sermon notes that I do on Sundays when we go to church. It helps me keep that together all in one place. And for me, that's a huge part of self-care. Next up, I know you can't read it, but this is a sheet that my mentor gave me of her biggest wisdom points over the years. This list has been building and building. And it talks about keeping yourself accountable. It talks about your part and God's part. And it talks about things that you can pray for yourself and others. If you want to copy this, let me know. And if not, that's a-okay. And because I am apparently totally crazy, I decided to do another gratitude spread. Like I said, the first one was okay. It didn't work for me. And so since this is kind of a trial bullet journal anyway, I thought, well, let's just give it a go. Let's just try a whole different page. So I hope that in your bullet journals, you feel like you can constantly update it and change it so that it meets your needs. And if there's something that you try one week and you don't like the layout or you don't like the colors or you don't like the lack of color, it's completely changeable. And for me, That's the whole point of the bullet system, and that's what makes it so great. If I had a regular planner, which I did and I quit, it's totally useless for me right now during all this COVID crisis stuff. But my bullet journal can constantly reflect the changes in my life based on how I set it up. So that's what I absolutely love about it, is that it's not wasted. If and trust me, there have been a week or two where I just haven't gotten to my bullet journal at all. Like I didn't write in it because I was busy writing in this one for class. So I was like, I ain't doing more pages. So the thought behind this page is on the left hand side, I would record my gratitudes and it'd just be every other color. And then on the right hand side, I would write out prayers, things I'm thinking about. You know, clear back when I was a teenager in youth group, we always broke down prayer into an acronym. So you start out with praise, then you go to repent, and then ask, and then yield. So what I did is I made just a column for each of those things so that I could record them throughout the week and I could add to that list. And then at the very bottom, I added like a thought bubble. I have no idea what I would put in there yet, but I'm pretty sure I could figure something out. And maybe it's just a quote, or maybe it's not a quote, or maybe it's just like a little doodle box. Either way, I really like it. So that's all I got this week. Be sure to send me pictures of your spreads. Adios.